Hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Frisco. Welcome to my real estate podcast. Let's embark on this exciting journey together. Today on my podcast, Frisco Housing Market Insights, we're going to talk about what you need to do to prepare for the closing day. My guest today will be Steven Stewart with the Southern Comfort Mechanical, which is a HVAC company. And if you enjoy a high-quality espresso, I will introduce you to the coziest cafe in Frisco.
Meet Mr. Frisco, a realtor selling residential real estate in Frisco and far North Dallas. As a former professional athlete, track and field, and strength and conditioning coach, Mr. Frisco immigrated to the USA 20 years ago with $50 in his pocket, a suitcase, and zero English to pursue the American dream and build a successful real estate business. Hardworking, persistent, customer service, and detail-oriented, Mr. Frisco strives to secure a smooth closing on his client's biggest investment, their home. He puts his experience and knowledge to serve his clients the best way possible. Building his business by referral allows him to maintain relationships with his clients and serve them even after the transaction is closed. This is Frisco Realty News with Mr. Frisco.
So let's start with some insights about the Frisco housing market. If you're considering entering the housing game as a seller or buyer, here are some straightforward breakdown of the current scenario. So the housing market in Frisco is showing promise for the sellers. In August, homes were sold roughly 9.6% higher than the last year. To add, prices witnessed a slight uptick of 0.3% from July. On the flip side, there is a decrease in the number of available homes. Listings have dipped by 20.4% compared with the last year, and they further reduced by 2.4% from July to August. In civil terms, prices are increasing, and the buyers still have a limited choice. The properties in Frisco are getting snapped up quite rapidly, average about 14 days on the market. That said, it did take homes 2 days longer to sell in August than in July. Furthermore, pending sales, which are homes nearly on the brink of being sold, saw a 22.4% decrease compared to last year and 10.8% drop from July. This, along with the declining home sales, indicated a slight slowdown in the future momentum. So, considering the current trends, Frisco real estate landscape is lively. Sellers are in a favorable position with rising price and decreased listings, making it a potentially adventurous time to list. Well, buyers, while there may be a dash for the best properties, remember, buyers, there is always something out there for everyone. So now let's talk about the closing date. The curtain is about to rise on the final act of your home selling or buying journey. The spotlight is preparing for closing day and day above endings and exciting new beginnings. Let's break down the process into manageable steps to ensure your final is a standing ovation. So before you reach the closing day, give your contract and amendments a look. So remember, this is the document that is foundation of your agreement with the buyer. So ensure that clearly outlines the sale price, agreed upon repairs, and other vital terms. And if you are the seller, make sure all agreed repairs are completed and you have all invoices. Tour the house and make sure it's clean and ready for the buyer to take possession. Buyers usually make a final walkthrough before closing, and if something is wrong and not as you agreed in the contract, that may delay the closing. Taking the time now to understand every detail can prevent misunderstandings later. This is your roadmap for what to do, what to expect on the big day. So get your papers ready in order, from your ID to the bank account number where you will receive the proceeds. And if you are closing remotely, inform your title company to schedule a notary. Having this, ready prevents last-minute hiccups. Also, familiarize yourself with the final closing disclosure. Whether you're a buyer or seller, you must know any fees you may face, so there are no surprises. And if something is wrong, ask the title company to fix it. Also, the closing disclosure reflects the proceeds the seller will receive and the closing funds the buyer must transfer. And make sure all the numbers are just correct. Buyers, this one is for you. Walking through the property one last time before sealing the deal is crucial. This final walkthrough, as I said above, ensures you are getting exactly what you paid for. It's your opportunity to confirm that no new issues have corrupted up since the inspections. Ensure all repairs have been completed and the property meets the expected overall condition. And closing day is more than a quick event. Remember that. Allocate ample time for the process, since it involves reviewing several documents and possible answering last-minute questions, especially for buyers. It's a big stack of documents you have to sign. If something is not clarified, and needs to be clarified later, feel free to ask. The more informed you are, the smoother the process is. So it's time now for my guest, Steven Stewart, owner and CEO of Southern Comfort Mechanical. Hey, Steven. Good to have you on my show. How are you?
I'm okay. Thanks, Viktor, for having me here today. It's a pleasure to be here and join you.
Always. HVAC industry is a very big part of the Texas heat, man, now in our industry. So it's important people to know what's going on there. All right. Can you tell us something about you, about your background? How did you decide to start with the HVAC? But how exactly? Tell me about your background. What did you do before that?
As you can tell from the strange accent, I am not from Texas. So a bit like yourself, I was born and grew up over in Europe. So Northern Ireland, Belfast. So grew up there. Moved to England to finish my studies and worked in engineering roles with automotive and aerospace. Moved to Toyota there. Worked very closely with my Japanese friends, as I call them, the engineers, to get stuff from the drawing board into production. Moved to the US then, did some consulting work. Moved from there, did some plant management, which then brought me down to Dallas. I joined a private equity firm here, so I was an operating partner with them for about 10 years. I'd always wanted to have my own business. Whenever I got tired of flying around the world, I decided to look for a company. I was looking for a factory. I couldn't afford one of those, so I ended up focusing in on the trades. I had really bad experiences with my HVAC contractors, so I would see, opportunity came up, and that's how I got into the HVAC world.
All right. Well, so from an engineer, aero engineer to the HVAC. Wow. Okay. and went through the private equity fund. Wow. Okay. That's a background. That's a background. So you understand the business from both sides. And it's engineer is an engineer anyway. I know that it's not the same, but anyway, it's mechanical.
Yeah.
All right. So, how do you see the industry evolve with the years? Every time we see something new, it's more complicated in the the HVAC. By the way, I see I'm a realtor, and I see HVACs that they have been on the house for 30 years.
Yeah.
And now I see ACs that they just break in 10 years. So how the industry has changed with the years?
I would say it's changed. So I would say I've been in the industry now coming on 7 years. So I would say during that time, I've seen a bunch of change. But before that, things used to be a lot more, let's say, robust and heavily engineered. So hence you will see some of those units that have been around for 30 odd years or whatever. I think 35 is maybe the record that I have seen out there, 34, 35, something like that. But over time, like everything else, there's been pressures on cost reduction. So things have got thinner, copper's disappeared and got switched over to aluminium or aluminum, depending on where you say it. And the other thing then is as the efficiency pressures have gone up, materials have had to need to get, I would say, thinner for the heat transfer to get more efficiency and heat those targets. I would say motors have got more complex. So we used to have a regular motor with efficiency standards that came in, 4 or 5 years ago on furnaces. All the motors now are ECM motors, are electronically controlled. So, they are getting steadily more complex, and would say the operating parameters are getting much tighter as well. So there used to be a term, back with R22 that people may remember if they're my age, that I would say used to be a term if it was beer can cold. So if there was Freon in those systems, they would work and cool. With the 410A, they've got much higher pressures and a much tighter operating system. So as time goes on, those changes are going to keep coming. So I would say the Department of Energy has some targets and so forth and coming up in the future. So we're going to see that relentless push to get higher efficiency, and things will continue to get more complex and more circuit boards.
All right. Well, talking about this industry changing with the years, now it's all about energy efficiency. Especially with older housing and older HVAC systems, people spend a lot of money on their energy bills.
Yeah.
So, how this industry changed, energy efficiency wise, and what your company implements, to sell more energy efficient HVAC systems.
So I would say over the years, though, that I would say the easiest thing to look at is called the SEER, or the seasonal energy efficiency ratio. So that number keeps rising. So during my tenure, I believe it's moved up 3 times, and there's going to be a few minor tweaks again next year. So in terms of older systems that maybe used to be 8 or 10 back maybe say 10 years ago, those I would say every couple of years move up a point. So we just had a major shift this year on how that measurement is done, as well as an increase there. So in terms of my team, whenever my technicians are there at a client's house, they'll run through. So if you're doing a maintenance, for example, which I know is slightly off topic, but that's keeping the things running efficiently. So if you keep your filter clean, that's going to help. So I'd recommend any homeowner gets a maintenance done on the system to keep it working efficiently. But if you do need to do replacement, then we'll give options to the client. Here's the entry level efficiency, here's a mid, and here's a high level. So it's gone through those options with a homeowner. What's more important to you? Is it just the minimum cost? And whatever the efficiency is, or are you keen for different levels of efficiency to help with your monthly bills at that point?
All right. We're talking about, we all have challenges, in our business. They coming and going, But what was the most complicated project you ever worked?
I'll say probably not project. I'd say period. So COVID has probably been some of the most challenging stuff. So HVAC is an international supply chain. During the first year of COVID, it wasn't too bad, but as things have gone on, things have got more and more challenging. They've improved slightly this year on equipment availability, but spare parts is still a real challenge. So it was just navigating the way through of spending 8-ish hours a day on the phone, trying to track down equipment for different clients that needed new HVAC stuff. So that was a challenging time back in 21, 22. Both seasons were really challenging from getting an equipment point of view and trying to figure out what could we offer clients that we could get installed, rather than say you can have this, but we can get it for you for 6 months, 8 months. So that was one of the most challenging, along with technicians. So any business owner at the moment will tell you, getting hold of great people is a challenge or whatever, but that's challenging to find good technicians that have the technical skills and the personalities for customer service. So
talking about COVID, how did that change the industry? They were talking about a lot of filters or something. How did that change? Did the COVID change anything in the industry?
Not really.
Not really?
I would say there was some protocols for a while. I know lots of people were very sensitive about who laid that in their home, who they didn't. But for the most part, that's back to normal. But really it was around that navigating the customer I'd say not the customer, but I would say what was available, the supply to the customers, give them options on that. So it was like, or educating clients on, this is available, this other one is not available, and trying to be clear as possible on the lead time. So, if it's 3 months, 6 months, it's just trying to be clear. So just to try and set expectations. Probably some of the other things that have changed is, I'll say, people have got more impatient over, working over the phone, working remotely in that electronic age. So that we'll say customer service side of things have changed a bit. That people are a bit more demanding, which is good. We've had to rise to that at that occasion. But in terms of the fundamental, the way HVACs operate and so forth, there hasn't been much fundamental change there. There was an increase for a while on air purification. So it's been talked about. Products have been around for, 15, 20 years. We did see an increase in installation of whole home air purification system. Remy Halo is the one that we work with. We did see some increase on that, both for homes and some commercial properties. It wasn't a huge increase, and that seems to have dropped back down again as everyone's moving on.
All right. I know that because I send you to some people, and I know that your customer service is excellent. This is some. So what actually do you do to keep that customer service on that high level?
try and have good people and stay out of their way. So part of that, so there's a few different things that would say what I wanted, from the company was a professional company or whatever. So that's part of the stuff that had been lacking, show up, be professional, we'll say clean and presentable. So those things, be able to get a hold of a person. So I am, we'll say, older. I like to talk to a person on a phone and not a chat bot or whatever. So talking to a person was important. So that's where we have people that answer the phone, answer questions. You can text and chat. We have all forms. Smoke signal ink is the only communication channel that we don't have. And try and keep clients updated. When the technicians are there, it's, giving people options. So here's your Band-Aid. Here's what you need to do to get back up and running, but here's potentially what you should do if that piece of equipment's towards the end of its life, is give the client the option for that, educate them. So, and run through those options, and then answer the client's questions, make sure they're educated and understand, and then wait, and then let the client make decision, and then get things implemented as quickly as possible, and then follow up, make sure that people are happy afterwards.
Yeah. All right. Well, we both came from across the pond. You are from Ireland. You said Belfast.
Yeah.
And from Bulgaria, and we all came here with our goals, with our dreams. You say whatever you said, you had to dream to have your own company, and you have it. What's the next step in the HVAC business? What's your goal? How would you like to improve the company, and the next level to bring it?
The next level is just to keep growing it and keep having fun. So we'll say just keep stepping up. If we keep hopefully delivering good client service and the clients keep calling, then we'll keep growing, add in more technicians, and hopefully a few more managers along the way, so I can keep 2 or 3 hairs left on my head, and just keep having fun doing it. So at some point potentially adding in other services if that makes sense, but is keep going. So like recently we've ventured, and we'll say geothermal, which there's some of those around our service area. So that's something new that we've we'll say got into, and that's working out. So we'll keep growing in that space, commercial, residential. So.
All right. So what preventive measures? Because it's always, not fun when in the middle of the summer your AC is gone. You know.
I've been there.
Yeah, one of the reasons probably you're in HVAC
one of
business.
the reasons, yes.
So not fun at all. And what would you advise, our audience to do as a preventive measure to not that to happen during the summer?
So summer or winter, as these recent 3 or 4, and apparently we got another nasty winter coming up again this year. So one of the things I would say is, at minimum, if we say you want to do it yourself, 2 things you can do. One is routinely change your filter. That's the number 1 cause of breakdowns. Filter gets clogged up. The system can't get airflow through it, can't breathe. That then takes out motors. Dirt gets past that, clogs up the evaporator coil. So that's where a lot of that damage is done. It'll freeze up, break the welds, and so forth. So key thing is keep your filter changed. How often? If you have a 1-inch filter, it should be changed every 3 months. If it looks very dirty, whenever you change it every 3 months, increase it more often every 2 months. If it's still dirty, change it more frequently. If you have a 4-inch filter, change that twice a year. So that keeps it clean. So that's the first thing you can do as a homeowner. Second thing is your outdoor condenser unit or a heat pump, but that box with a fan on it that sits outside is to keep that rinsed off. So once or twice twice a summer is rinse that off, just using a garden hose. No high pressure, because you will damage the fins in the cooling coil outside. But just with a hose, rinse that off until the raw water runs clear. It cleans out dead grass, pollen buildup, things like that. So that's if you're a do-it-yourselfer. Beyond that, I would recommend you get a good reputable company to come out and do a tune-up or a spring and a fall maintenance, as we call those. But that's going through each of the components, checking they're working properly, achieving the right voltages, amp draws, current levels, things are functioning properly, and having the drain line cleaned out as well, which stops that from backing up and blanking out your thermostat, which can lead for an unfun time. So staying on top of the maintenance, it's like an oil change on your car. If you do that, you get the filter changed, you don't forget about it. And it just keeps the drain line clear, which is sort of one of the second biggest things that happens during the summer. Then it checks out the other components. You get a heads up, hey, you need a new capacitor or you have a leak in your system. That way you can plan before it gets too hot. Hey, I need to get this done. So you can either shop around, budget for it, get it done before it's too hot. And then, for us, we probably do maintenance on around about 3,000 systems each year, give or take. I would say out of that, it's probably less than 0.5% that have a breakdown over the summer. So that's something that's, I go back and dig in to find out what did we miss, what do we need to improve on for next year. So that reduces that likelihood of a summertime breakdown down drastically.
All right. Well, that's good tips. Good tips for the homeowners. All right. So if somebody would like to reach out for service, where and how they can reach out to you?
So you can either call, text, or chat to 972-420-1700, or you can find us online at Spaghetti Soup at scmdfwair.com. So S for Southern, C for Comfort, M for Mechanical, DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, AIR for air.com.
All right. Well, guys, this is the guy for the HVAC in the DFW area. You're gonna have a good customer service, and thanks for coming to my show. In the end of the day, that was great to have you, and I will see you around.
Great. Thank you, Victor. Appreciate it, sir.
All right.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Bye. And now for the espresso enthusiast, the coziest cafe in Frisco. Who said the coffee is just a drink? No. At the Nescafe, it's an experience. They're known for having the best coffee in Frisco, Texas. And guess what? It's not just about sipping on a cup. It's about feeling at home. The entire concept of the Nescafe revolves around building a cozy nest where everyone gathers, chit-chats, and enjoy quality moments together. Whether you're an earlier bird or a late riser, the Nescafe has something delicious waiting for you. From crunchy granola, creamy avocado toast, and delightful waffles for breakfast, to a variety of lip-smacking French toast and Benedicts for brunch. So they have got it all. And about lunchtime, well, now how about munching on the fresh salads, paninis, or a croissant sandwich? And don't forget to try their beet hummus toast. It's a game changer. And this place is not just about the brew. Yes, their coffee, again, is strong with a choice like macchiato, cappuccino, and some special Nest favorites. But they also have other delightful beverages to quench for thirst. If you are not in mood for an espresso, why not try a hot chocolate, comfort London fog, or a rich chai latte? This place isn't just for adults. It's super kid-friendly, complete with the baby changing stations. So bring the little ones along for a family brunch date. So thank you for joining me on this episode. That's all for today. Before we sign off, don't forget to subscribe to my podcast and share it with friends and family who may benefit from the information. Your support means a lot for me, and until the next time, happy investing and house hunting.